Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Super Meat Boy, another Super Meat World edition. This time we're playing a chapter called The Passenger, released by a guy named RockLeeSmile. It just came out last week for Super Meat World. I've got really mixed feelings about this one. If you follow me on Twitter, you know that soon after this chapter came out, I actually tweeted that they were the most ingenious and creatively designed levels that Super Meat World has seen. And judging by levels like this, I can't deny that. I mean, this is by far one of the most beautiful and clearly one of the most beautiful chapters, and clearly a lot of effort has gone into the art style. But I have mixed feelings because the chapter on the whole, I shouldn't say on the whole, but fully 50% of these levels I love, including the last one and this one, even though I actually, rack up quite a few stupid deaths here, despite this being probably one of the easier levels in the pack. 50% of the levels I love, and I think it's a great step forward for the platform. Roughly 50% of the levels I feel is everything that I do not want Super Meat World to become, and that's levels that are way, way too fucking hard for the general public to play. And I'll admit, straight out, there's actually a couple of levels in this pack that I do not beat on camera, and I'll show you why when we get to them. One of them is a technical difficulty that has not only applied to me, as I've seen so far, and the other one is just too goddamn hard, so, fuck it, I'm not gonna play it. But before I get too angry, and I might get a little bit angry when we get up to those parts, I do want to say that I recommend this chapter, and the reason I do so is because it's by far the most ingeniously designed chapter in the game so far. There's a lot of puzzles that force you to think in new and different ways, ways that we haven't seen in the Super Meat World, the levels that shipped with, Super Meat Boy, the levels that shipped with the game, or Super Meat World, any of the user design levels up to this point. And this is one of those examples, actually. And actually, this is one of the tougher levels in the first half. And the only reason I beat it here is because I got lucky and somehow, through some technical error, I phased through the platform as it was coming at me and ended up beating this on my first try. Normally, that's one of the hardest levels. But yeah, in terms of art style, in terms of creativity, these are among the best levels in the game. I just wish that they weren't so hard. And, I'm not trying to sound like a kid when I say this, but I'm not bad at Super Meat Boy. It looks like sometimes a joke, but, I'm not great at doing it. I have at least 200 to 300 hours in the game, playing it for leisure and recording it. So, if I have trouble with these levels and actually get frustrated to the point of not finishing them, then I think there's something wrong with the difficulty. I think that's prohibitively difficult. See, I'm already harping on that negativity, even though levels like this I really love. This is actually one of my favorite levels in the entirety of Super Meat Boy at this point, because of the way that it forces you to think in different ways. Like, this is a level that's actually kind of like a... I don't know, every time I play it I kind of feel like I'm in a racing game, because you really have to navigate those corners right, and of course you have to get your jumps appropriate in order to... the jump height appropriate in order to navigate them in the first place. And then we come out with a level like this, which is actually one of my least favorite, and one that I actually feel is either luck-based or the skill level is so high above the skill that I'm at right now that I can't comprehend how to beat it consistently. The first part is not so bad. There's a lot of patterns that you can get around there, use to get around there. But this part, I, for the life of me, have never found a consistent pattern to get myself up there. And a lot of the time, it seems like I just get killed by the saws, even though there's platforms in front of them. And, Super Meat Boy is a little bit buggy right now, and it has been buggy since the April Fool's update. I'm not trying to blame the developers or blame the level designer or anything for that. It could be a technical error on my end as well. God knows I have more than my fair share of those. But I'm just saying, they don't hamper the game enough to make it unplayable, but things like that, when they happen, and you're already frustrated, are obviously, a little bit more annoying than they would normally be. And this is actually one of the hardest jumps in the level right here. We have to get up there and get Bandage Girl and slide through that hole. That came out not the right way, but the timing on that was quite difficult. And then there's levels like this, which, actually offer a welcome break from the punishing difficulty of the chapter so far. But this is actually one of the less inspiring levels in terms of its design as well. The cool thing, and something that hasn't been done too much in Super Meat Boy or Super Meat World, that is done in this level, is that there's multiple paths. You can take the path on the top, or you can take the path on the bottom, or you can take the path in the middle, which I find to be by far the easiest, especially since the salt in that tight corridor that I went through near the beginning actually does not kill you 99% of the time, even if you touch it, at least at this point in the game, for whatever reason. And again, they throw in levels like this, which I actually feel like this one is really satisfying. You know, a little bit easy, but easy in this chapter is actually a good thing, because it feels like you get a break. Because if this was just 20 straight levels of the kind of ridiculous difficulty that the later levels give you, then it wouldn't be fun to play at all. One of the things I really hope that happens to the Super Meat World platform is that things end up rewarding rather than... Like, when you finish a chapter, you should feel like you're being rewarded, not like you feel relief. Like, when I beat this chapter, and, you know, I have beaten this chapter even though I don't beat it on camera because of a couple of the levels, I didn't feel satisfied. I just felt like I had this pressure on my brain that I'd finally relieved. Before I leave this level, I should note that this is actually one of the ones that I feel is too difficult as well, and I cut out a lot of footage there. This level, I like this level, actually, and part of the reason I like it is the art design. You can see it's got a cool kind of, like, I don't know, post-apocalyptic girder setup going on in the background there. I'm positive that a lot of care and attention went into this level. The other reason is that the patterns are really easy to see. When the saws were in diamonds, you jump sometimes, and when the saws were in a square pattern, you jump for other jumps. But I'll let you figure those out on your own. This is another one that I actually quite like. Once you figure it out, it's pretty easy to consistently beat it, which is kind of a big thing for me. That's one of the most important things for me, I think, in Super Meat Boy, is once you can suss out a pattern, I feel like you should be able to beat the game, or beat the level more often than you beat the level. Or at least it shouldn't take you, dozens and dozens of tries if you know the method. And I'm sure there are people who disagree with me on that, and that's fine. But you know, that's my philosophy anyway. This is another one that I feel is a little bit too difficult. And actually, like that level that had those platforms that were coming down, it was like a vertical corridor. I only beat this one on camera because of basically a fluke where I actually passed right through the platform, even though it should have killed me. But you know, we'll see that when it happens. Most of the time, you just get crushed like that. This level takes a long time to figure out, and the jumps you have to be really, really precise. It reminds me of the third level for the kid. And actually, I wouldn't surprise me if a lot of people thought this level was harder than the third level for the Kids Warp Zone. That's kind of the degree of difficulty we're working with here. Most of them, yeah, there's the way I passed through it by accident. No malicious intent there, I just got lucky. The difficulty on these is quite high. It's among the highest levels that are in the game. You know, I don't know if it's as high as Dark World Cotton Alley, but it's punishing to say the least. But yeah. I mentioned earlier, and I've gotten off track a little bit, I really like when you finish a chapter in Super Meat Boy, and you feel like you've accomplished something, but not in the sense, like, I've got this enormous pain going on in my body, this mental anguish and frustration, which has finally been relieved. I feel like when Super Meat Boy is really frustrating, something has gone wrong in the design. Or you're drunk, maybe. But, yeah, like, the game is never meant to be frustrating, and I don't feel like these levels were, like, deliberately designed to be frustrating. I can't praise RockLeeSmile. It sounds stupid to use an internet alias when I'm talking about you know, conjecture like this. But I'm sure that he designed these levels, and a lot of care and effort went into them, but some of them are just too goddamn hard. But, you know, and again, I'm sure, you know, whatever floats your boat, there's probably a lot of people that disagree with me and would hate to see Super Meat World become kind of a haven for mid or easy level, easy difficulty levels that wouldn't really give them much challenge. My philosophy is, once everything gets integrated properly, the hardcore player should, you know, test their skills on the leaderboard. I feel like most of the levels should be accessible and feel beatable to the average player. And, well, you know, who knows, maybe I'm a below-average Super Meat Boy player. I would be surprised, but you never know. The game's come a long way in the last few months. Another minor complaint I have with these levels is that they're all consistently really, really long, and normally I'm kind of a fan of that, but the fact that there's so many that are so long is a problem, because, you know, when you have difficulty of these standards, when you die and it takes you 45 seconds to get to where you were when you died, it can be a real pain in the ass, and again, ups the frustration level. But again, we're coming to the point where I'm gonna start to rail on the game a little bit. Rail on these levels a little bit, I should say. Before we get into that, I want to reiterate again, chapter is definitely recommended. The reason I have mixed feelings is because of difficulty. So if you're really hardcore into Super Meat Boy, this won't turn you off. This will probably be your favorite chapter, and you know, it's close to being my favorite chapter as well, just by virtue of the excellent art design and the ingenuity of the puzzles. It's clear that a lot of creativity and a lot of effort went into this, and you know, I commend RockLeeSmile on that. I think this is a great step forward for the platform in every sense except for the difficulty. But again, if that's your cup of tea, then so be it. Maybe I'm in the vast minority here. But I'm in the camp that wants Super Meat Boy to be accessible. I don't want it to turn into I want to be the guy, but I know there's tons of people that are into that kind of torture porn platforming, which is okay. So this is one level that I can't beat, just because, for whatever reason, whenever I play it with my system, it just automatically kills me every single time. So this is the 19th level, so we've got 2 to go. And this one is kind of difficult. It's a little bit hard. This is one of the ones that actually just takes a little bit longer to figure out than it does to actually do. Once you figure out how to do it, it's not so bad. And the key to it is actually this jump up here where I just got destroyed by that saw. But the key is absolutely that jump when you cross over. You want to hit as few blocks under that hanging saw as you can. And I'd like to point out again, you know, give credit where credit's due. The art style here, and art design in particular, is really great. There's light sources above and below the level, so when you break these collapsible blocks, or, you know, how would you say, deteriorating blocks, the light kind of shines through and causes the saws to look like rotating suns, which is cool. And then, here's the other level I didn't beat. Or I didn't beat on camera. Anyway, this is the last level, and one of the reasons I hate it, it's so fucking long. There's nowhere to stand and actually think, so you have a chance to, you know, figure out what you're doing. The only way to get better at it, actually that makes it sound not so bad. I was gonna say the only way to get better at it is to play it over and over. But you get to the later stages of the levels so infrequently that it seems like you're putting in a lot of effort just to figure out how to beat the level. So you know what? Fuck it. I'm not gonna beat it. If you want to see it, go look at another Let's Play or beat it yourself. I'm not trying to be a snob or anything right now. It's just way too much effort. On the whole, though, good levels, good levels. Go play them if you're into this difficult stuff. See you later.